Okay, so now you got to stick your air cartridge on the bottom of this nut, and it's going to secure the air fork, the dampening part of it, inside your fork too. So this is set at, it's going to be 33 pounds. It's tight here, you kind of have to. This is a very long-winded bolt. And the torque setting for this is 33 pounds. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to tighten it. There it is, 33 pounds. Now, take it out of soft vise. And we are going to add our suspension fluid in here. And you've got to add 7 ounces of suspension fluid. So if I do this really carefully, pour. Lean the leg back a little bit. Get all the magic inside the tube here. Okay. Now we're just going to take our fork leg here. And because we put this fork leg under, it's got a little pressure behind it when we sealed it up. So I'm just going to hit the Schrader core valve real quick, let out the air. Bring the tube up. Screw the cap on. And then we're going to take our 50mm special tool here, put it in the vise. And this right here, you just have to go by feel. I don't have a big enough torque wrench for 50mm, so you're just going to have to tighten it. And that's pretty good. And your air leg is done now. So pretty excited about that. Alright. Now we're going to start on the dampening side of it. I have replaced all the seals here. As you can tell, when I heated this up, I burnt that seal. And they don't sell them, so you have to buy the whole part. The Loctites on it, so we're going to have to take off these nuts here. So this is 3/4 on the bottom, jaw here. And this cap doesn't really want to come off right here, so we're going to have to squeeze this together, work it loose here. There it goes. You can see what I was talking about. There's a land on the nut, so when these two tight together, you tighten them together. They're machined to fit perfectly evenly, so it puts that extra tightness on them. You get that extra torque. So now we're going to have like kind of the same problem here. How do I get this on without the bullet? Without a bullet. All we're going to do, take this off here. And we're going to wrap Teflon tape around it. And that will protect that seal from being gouged by the threads. Stick a little suspension fluid on here. Coat it. And we're going to grab this new cap here with the seal inside. And we're going to put suspension fluid all around it. Move it up. Dry seal is a bad seal, right? And that looks pretty good. On there pretty good. Take the Teflon tape off. And now I'm going to add a little bit of that grease. And this is like a high bearing grease for plain bearing. It's for like high loads. When you go and order on Rocky Mountain ATV, you'll find it. Just gonna put just a little bit on the shaft here. Just a little bit of grease. These were all new seals right here, and I didn't really have to take any of this apart, but this is your part of your valving that goes on the dampening. This is on the bottom part of it. So we will add some suspension fluid to here. And then we're going to put on that nut. Goes through here, like so. None of this had Loctite on it, so you're good. I'm going to show you the old one. I think I did. Kind of burned up in there. Now we're going to take this would be your adjustment clicker on the bottom. We're going to just tighten it until it will not tighten anymore. It's tight. Now we're going to torque this together here. Just enough to make sure that it won't come off. And that's it right there, just a little bit. Doesn't have to be crazy. Alright, so that's pretty good. We've got some grease in there. Sealing very well. We're going to stick this off to the side. Now, I also replaced all of this. This is the dampening. This is really your dampening in your valve. And all these settings for the caps and everything were set to 0. They were wounded all the way out. So we're going to stick some suspension fluid all along here. I'll lube it up. This part of it didn't have any grease on it. And I think maybe because the way the damping rod fits inside, you're always getting fluid inside the cartridge. So that's kind of my theory on it. But anyway, we're going to clean this tube up real quick and I'll be right back. Alright, so now we got everything cleaned up and we're going to add the bottom part of the damping leg here. Squeeze that in there like that. And then this cap's already got Loctite. If you did not have the Loctite around here, you'd have to use 2701. And you just can't buy this down at your local hardware store. But I'll actually do a video on this. I don't want to get into that now. So now we've got this, we're putting on the end of this cap here. Take our tool again. And then we're going to slowly tighten this up. This is a 24 millimeter, and then I'm just using the tool, the 50 millimeter to lock the head on it. So if you kind of just use your leverage here, you can put that against there and you can just kind of tighten it up like this. Just working it nice and slowly. This is aluminum. When it's tight, you'll know it. Don't over tighten it. It's very easy to strip this stuff out. I mean, you've got an O-ring, you've got Loctite. I mean, it's going to seal. Alright, so now we have this part of it done. And now what we've got to do is I've already lubed up everything here, replaced all the seals, made sure that when you do take this apart, because this is your valving, you'll have these little stacks in here, and when you take it apart, use a screwdriver and stick it in there so you don't lose the order of everything, because it will matter. We're going to add this dampening part of it now, this ring. It's like a stopper, and then here's this lock ring that'll go over here. Turn it so the ring ends where that notch is. It goes all the way around it. Alright, so there's no fluid in here. Now you're going to have to add some fluid inside here, and that's going to be 12.8 ounces. I said 13 ounces, so we're going to add that to here. Fill that up. Now you're going to want to take this, sneak that in there. But we're going to use a vise on this one. So we'll open up the soft vise. Put a little pressure on it. I've already replaced the ring that seals the head. I've already lubed up all the seals. You're just going to kind of get that in there like that. Then take this rod, kind of do the process of bleeding here. Take a cap tool. On the 11/16 that'll fit on here. Close enough. Tighten this up. Get it started, tighten it up. And we'll be right back from here. Okay, so we filled this up with the 12.8 ounce fluid. So now we're just going to cycle this rod up and down till all of the air gets out of it. Okay, now we're going to put in the soft vise. And now we're going to put the dampening part of it in. I've replaced everything in here. Got the outer O-ring in. We're going to put this baby in. Now this should be torqued down to about 36. Okay, 36. And what you're going to do is you're going to use your cap tool in a 17mm socket that'll go here. So go on your torque wrench, and you're going to take this, and we're going to torque this down. This is kind of long-winded to start. Take your time. Sealing slowly but surely. Okay, now we're going to take our torque wrench and get the torque on here. And be careful with this cap tool, because even though it's made to fit, it kind of still is kind of wobbly in there. I think I've got more leverage doing on this on the table than I do here. Kind of a bad position here. So we'll put this right there. Put our tool here. Like I said to you, you really should purchase the vise. I should have. It would have made life a lot easier. But I didn't. I was not thinking. But that's part of the learning process, and that's how you learn. So. Kind of tricky here without the vise, so bear with me. Okay, there we go, baby. Got to struggle here a little bit before I get this. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, cap on, everything's tight. But not too long. That's it, right there. Alright, now if you've got this bled out like I showed you, the dampening rod will come back down, or come back out I should say. And it does. Okay, so now we're going to take our other tube and we're going to extend this out here. Because you will see that this is our adjustment down here. So we'll tie this in here. We'll put this in here like so. Till it fits. You'll kind of feel it pop in. We'll take our wrench, start tightening it up, and then I'll have to readjust my torque wrench back to 33 pounds. I think the spec is 33.2, but 33 is close enough for me. Some people don't even bother with torque wrenches. I can understand. I mean, if it feels tight and you've been a mechanic for a long time, you know, kind of know what it's going on. So this will go back 33. And we'll torque this. There it is. Okay, now we're not done yet. We've got to add 7 ounces of suspension fluid in this outer part of it. So, take our cup here, for 7 fluid ounces. There's 7 ounces right there. Put that back on. Then we're going to pour this carefully in here, not to spill anything. Gotta lift that up a little bit, let the leg drop. Pour this in nice and slow. Kind of helps if you lean back the fork a little bit. So all of it gets in there. That's the magic. Alright, so now we're going to put this back in here. Get it started. Put it back in the soft jaws, and then like I said, I do not have a torque wrench for a 50 millimeter nut, so that's it. And you would set your clickers to what you usually run for your suspension, back to the normal settings or whatever you prefer. kind of clean up this fork leg, and that's it. That's a complete rebuild. I enjoyed doing this. This is my first time working on the AER Forks. Pretty good experience. I've always worked on my own stuff, all the forks. Next I'll be getting into, once I get better at the forks, I'll get into doing the shocks and getting all that equipment. But like I said, I highly recommend. You're going to have to need soft jaws. You need a couple special tools to do this. And there, you can find out all this information at Rocky Mountain ATV. And then I was going to do a short